Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and welcome to a brand new season, and with that a brand new campaign run, with a whole new appreciation for the game and a few rules I'm going to be implementing for myself that I must follow to make the game a little bit more interesting. Now, first of all, the first rule I can actually do here, clink, I will no longer be receiving resources for attacking the enemy. Destroying an enemy ship will not give me resources, or at least, actually, let's have it as, will give me a very, very minimal amount of resources, 0.01, aka around about 1/100th of the actual resource I destroy. I'll actually get as resources, basically making it next to nothing. So may as well be nothing, but I'd like to see a little bit just for flavour. This simply means that defending, that attacking an enemy and losing is a truly crippling blow. Destroying the enemy ship does not net me resources, and being overly aggressive is not always the best thing. The next thing is I will be upgrading the enemy growth factor, not by a ridiculous amount, but by a fifth rather, just to make it a little bit more interesting. The deep water guard will attack very early on, and the enemies will be able to, well, actually no, a little bit higher. Let's go with a full 50% increase. This way, yep, the deep water guard will attack me very early on and with much larger groups, and the other enemies, of course, will be able to replenish faster once I do start attacking them. The difficulty modifier I'm keeping as it is, as I do not really like the idea of it. I was going to increase it, but I think it's a bit odd. How they do it is this. Increases enemy damage and decreases your damage. I don't like that because it means that items will act differently depending on whose team they're on, and something about that just doesn't really agree with me. Yep, that's already lowered. And finally, the enemy design difficulty, I will also keep it the same, as it also does not affect all factions correctly, and I've been told that this can sometimes lead to some silly situations if you change it either ways, particularly with updates happening all the time. Okay, so the next rule we can actually get into once we're in the campaign. Now we are going to be on the regular planet. Hey, the starter vessel, how beautiful. Yeah, we are on the starter vessel. Lovely. The next thing we're going to do is I am going to strip myself of points. Yes, I am not going to allow myself to use attribute points in, or at least above 10. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this yet. But for now, I'm not giving myself attribute points. The reason is mostly the mechanic element. It really does make my presence on board a ship, well, it really makes the ship almost indestructible. You've seen how fast I can repair later on. Of course, it's less of an extreme the lower it goes, and I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go with this right now, but the fact is, I could happily put 50 plus in each of these, and it would make my experience, again, a little bit odd. I wish to challenge myself and make it so, well, and so the whole thing is a different experience for myself. The skills are still here. We still have our stuff, binoculars, telekinesis. I don't really want to get rid of those. One thing I do notice is I keep forgetting to put the blunderbuss on the thing. Let's put it there. There we go. We now have the blunderbuss usable, which of course is the shotgun. Boom. Well, it's actually a blunderbuss. There we are. I do like that. So here we are with our lovely starter ship, and we're very slowly gathering resources. As you can see by the bottom, the engine is happily chugging away, and we have probably the worst gun in existence here, with no AI control, because this fortress has no AI. It's actually a brand new thing for me, because the map has changed since I last played. Now that mountain now seems very, very defensive, and in fact we could probably mount something there like a defensive cannon or some such, and, well, defend this entire area. So we begin. For those who are new to the game, you begin with all the resources you see in front of you, which includes hearthstones, fuel, ammo, everything you could want, a half-decent engine, even if it is a little bit inefficient. Well, it's very inefficient, a controller, resource gatherers, basically all the things you need to get going. We are happily chugging away and draining this resource zone. Except for the oil, it seems. Why am I not draining the... Oh, I know why. It's because they've not reached the bottom yet. If you look down here, until they actually reach the very bottom, they will not start gaining you resource, which I think's rather cool. It's a nice little extra, which I didn't really have to add. They could just have, well, if it's viable, instantly start draining. Oh, it's about to start. Just keep an eye on that resource. And boom! There we go. That oil is now happily going up, and we're draining the area of oil as well. Excellent. So, for the first wave, I wish to defend. I wish to make this fortress a thing of, well, not beauty, but a thing of Lathian glory, which basically means very, very bad-looking ships. But I want it to be mine. I want this thing to be special in some way. So, we need to start making things like the AI. I don't actually know what this is. Interesting. Oh, connected chargers. Oh, they're for the electric engine over there. Derp. I never use electric engines. I've got to say, they're never something I think, oh, I know what I'm going to use. An electric engine. Is that engine actually powerful enough for everything? 100%? Yep, it's exactly powerful enough. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is make an AI. Now, I remember back in the day, they never even used to give you crystal. It used to be a thing where crystal was not given to you. At least I think it wasn't. It was either not given to you, or it could have been the crystal farm was not there. Now, let's grab one of these. Okay. This is a growth farm. For now, I'm just going to shove it here. Eventually, I'll put it somewhere else with more space. But I do want the crystals, well, to have more crystal, because that will allow us to make things like the AI and such, and therefore able to defend ourselves automatically with automatic guns and everything like that, which is built of happiness and joy. How accurate is this thing anyway? Ah, it's that accurate. Well, some shot hit. Well done, you. Now, what type of weapon do I actually want? Ah, there's my respawn beacon. What type of weapon do I want defending? I think, well, for now we are going to have to wait a little bit until we have some more resource. But I think the main weapon we're going to stick with for now is probably a cannon of some kind, or some short-range missiles, because short-range missiles make me happy. Does that hole go all the way down there? Okay, so I'm going to just skip ahead, probably allow the resources to gather a little bit, and then we'll get going making something interesting on this lovely platform. Okay, so we've been waiting around for a little while now, mostly in ×10 speed, and it's time to set up the AI, which I'm going to put very unoriginally in here as well. It's kind of got the makings of a nice protective area anyway, as the bottom is metal base, even if it does currently contain ammo, which will be changed later, and it's got a nice wooden protection around it, which of course we can change more so again later. But right now I am rather concerned, because the Deepwater Guard won't take too long to send their first attack force, and well, they're going to be 50% faster at growing this time, which will either mean a 50% larger fleet, or they will be able to send their normal strength 50% faster. Regardless, we need to get moving. So, let's get this sorted. So we have some nice AI mainframe here. That doesn't take up crystal, does it? Excellent, because crystal's the big thing right now. I've recently increased the size of what we had before. The thingy-majiggy, we don't need that. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the AI card slots. There they are. But yeah, I've recently increased the size of the crystal farms, so now they can contain all of the crystal we had, even if now we have far less, which is a shame. So the main thing we want is the Fortress AI, which is us. Boom! There we go, now this ship understands what it actually is. It's actually a thing! Excellent. Do you want target prioritization? Yes, we do. We want aim point selection as well, because that's always a good thing, actually aiming at the correct place. And we don't really need anything else. Let's get the target tracker association anyhow. There we go. So all of our AI is set up in its most basic possible form currently, and then we're going to have a wireless transmitter, which I kind of want to be on its side. Don't ask me why, but I kind of just do. There we are. I'll put that. Actually, it would be nice if, oops, did I see wrong control, if it was facing upwards or downwards anyway. There we go, we have a wireless transmitter. So now if we add any guns which we actually want to be controlled, we can very easily control them that way. I don't really want the main gun here. There's the thing. So this is going to be moved. Right now, we're just making sure we can survive. So what type of weapon could we make very quickly, which can kind of be very effective at medium and long range without much of a setup? And really, the biggest thing with that would simply be missiles. Missiles are so simple to do, and can function so well with very minor input. So the question really is, where do we put them? Now, what I think I'm going to do is convert this area here into a missile silo, and put these two oil drills over here. As well, they don't really need to be where they are. There's no special reason why they're there. Why they are there, my lord. It's very late at night today. and very late tonight in fact, and I just fancied recording, so please forgive my speech. I got one of you there, and I'll actually we have a little circle of oil drills, and of course we need to just remove the wood underneath. There we go, and the oil drills will happily go down and start collecting oil once more. Yes, excellent. So the main resource we have right now obviously is wood, and we're going to use metal for the actual weapon itself. So for now, let's just stick to using wood and ensuring that we actually have the area kind of got. Then we need to do something more important, and that's sort out what colours we're going to have on our new fleet, as well. Our fleet's going to be brand new, because obviously when you go in the colour picker, you get the choice to have the fleet main. And I'm thinking perhaps this time a darkened green. I'm thinking green and black this time for our colours. I'm not too sure yet though, so that'll come later. Now, do I want to extend this any further out to provide some protection to the new area using, at the moment, simply using wood? We very well could. We very, very well could, and I think I actually will. Now I'm leaving out the middle on purpose because I've got a bit of an idea for that, which I'll explain in just a second. Well, I'll explain now, and that is perhaps a singular torpedo set up to a different AI to fire from here if a water-loving enemy comes by. A very long-range weapon. Of course, torpedoes are far more efficient with their fuel than most of the others. So, for now though, let's just ensure we have this sorted. Blocks, wood blocks. Let's go with the huge beams, and there we go. There we go. Do I want it to overhang? I want it to overhang. Like so. And the missile silo itself will be here. Probably at the back. Yeah, probably at the back to ensure a little bit extra protection if we can. So it's at a single missile controller here. There we go. And then we want the AI local weapon. A receiver attached to this. So that already that's already good, and then finally we also want a failsafe just in case. It's best, in my opinion, just to add them so later on you're not messing up. Okay, so that's already sorted out that way. Missiles and everything else, 6-way connectors, click, click, click. Okay. Then finally, the missile launch pads themselves, which should be facing upwards. Which they're not. Now they are? Yes, they are. Okay. I think I may have been facing upwards the whole time. I was just looking at it wrong, actually. Now I look at it again, I think that may be the case. Hey, good, these are facing the right way. Now, I don't have the resources to really invest in ammo processors. Also, I've accidentally moved the fortress down, so ignore that. That's why we've got spare of engine power currently. I accidentally moved it down when I moved it. In fact, what I could do is simply move it up. Now I'm actually next to the controller, which I think is D. Am I right with this? I am! Yay! And the water drains. Hurrah! So, ooh, oh, that's cool. I didn't realise these popped up now. All these new settings, excellent. There's obviously a lot now which I didn't used to use. A simple single pixel seeker with a 50 degree. Cool. Okay, well I'm going to go with the basic stuff I have. I do love that, the sticky flare. That's a cool concept, that really is. And the missile interceptor. There's loads of stuff which is really, really cool. So basically, missiles that hit missiles. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Not what we're going to use today, but still freaking awesome nonetheless. It could be regulators and all other sorts of things. Things I haven't really used in the past. But right now, we're going to stick to an old favourite of mine, which is a fragment grenade. Okay, and then we're going to want... Ah, crap, put it in the wrong place. My bad, the fragment shouldn't be on the very tip, just because we need something else for that, which is the infrared seeker, which should be somewhere, if I'm not blind. There it is. Automatically requires targets. Yep, that's the one I want. The biggest thing, though, which will be a difference... Yeah, this is definitely going to have to be bigger than it currently is, because we desperately need the one turn. The one turn is necessary for this. It simply means that even though it's vertical, so sign all, even though it's a vertical missile, when it first fires, it will fire where the AI wants it to be aimed at. So the AI knows there's an enemy over here. So at the very start, as you'll see with me aiming it, the missiles will go in that direction. and then me moving my mouse afterwards kind of screwed it up, but you get the idea. They go that way, once they're out, they will actually seek a target. Now, here's the thing. That went a lot further than I thought, and that is actually very ammo. Very ammo cheap. I might actually keep these as a very short-range missile set, which actually makes me want to put it onto a turret. No, I think, yeah, maybe. Later on, we'll have it as a... Okay, we can't see any lines yet, so nothing's coming towards us yet. That's actually pretty cool. Let's make sure that the one turn works how I think it works. Pew! And then, yep, they're now going that way. Fantastic. We do need the friend or foe and staggered fire on, of course, still. Otherwise, our missiles are liable to hit anything we produce in the future. We could have the ejectors as well, but that would just be height. That wouldn't actually... Actually, that might not be a terrible idea. That's the funny thing. If we're going to keep them so short range, perhaps allowing them more airtime. Might be a good idea, because then we're basically lobbing them at the enemy as opposed to allowing them so much airtime to actually aim. Not too sure. Perhaps not. Perhaps it'd be best to conserve the resources. But still, that's quite a nice concept. I like that. I like it how they are being so small. Because it means we could set up multiple of these around the thing. So, things we need: identify friend or foe, and staggered fire. Didn't really need to have that mirrored, guys, but I don't mind mirroring the identify friend or foe segment anyway. So let's have it as the full delay, the maximum delay we have. Fire away. Actually, let's just press caps lock to watch them. That goes far enough. For a defense weapon, that probably goes far enough. However, we could do a lot more. We could go down the route of having a lot of them, so that it's almost a continuous fire from there. Because as we saw, this has been quite cheap, and even with our minuscule ammo reserves, it's been quite well. So when I was speaking earlier about the ammunition processors, the thing is, the ammunition processors, how it works is it will convert metal into ammo. Now that's cool. Let's put one down just to show you it working. If you watch my metal now, it's going down, sadly, but my ammo is going up a lot faster than it was. Now that isn't actually too bad, honestly. It's kind of being counteracted by the gathering, which isn't too bad as it won't be active all the time. So I am tempted to have them, but really, this is the first weapon of many. And the ammunition processors do have a natural regen. I don't know what the regen is exactly, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it's not very much. But of course it also increases the maximum you have before the battle starts. So you could of course always win the battle before the ammunition is out, the end. So it really depends on how you kind of play. In later game, really ammunition processors are a necessity. I think I may have two. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to bite the bullet, considering it's about ammo, and have two ammunition processors. And that way, in the metal room, that way we do have a way of recovering ammo nice and easy, even if it doesn't mean it will cost me during test fires. Which kinda sucks. Reload! How long does it take to reload? Not too slow to reload either, okay. I think that's a pretty good start for our ship. We've made a little missile silo here. Perhaps I should put a warning sign, or a warning sign around it or something. I could have the full set and have it as a swarm. Ooh, a swarm missile. That would be pretty much what it would be if I were to extend this further to have more than one set. And it wouldn't cost me much either, so I might do back in a second once I've decided what to do and possibly fast forwarded so we have some more resources to start working on the main turret. Okay, well it's been a short while and what I've decided to do is start working on a small turret on top of this engine area here, and we'll start to neaten up the place down here so we can get going. I've also started to experiment with a few colours for the new faction we're currently playing, and I think the dark green with the kind of putrid wood colour here kind of works quite well. Let's be a bit of a diseased faction. May the plague rot them and all that good stuff. So, with that in mind, let's get building. So obviously we need a bit of a foundation to actually get the work done. Let's quickly put this up here and finish off this wooden block. So I'm just going to put this in here like so. There we are. Then back to wooden beams. I also should have mentioned earlier, and I do apologise for this, as I did mention it in the video before starting the new faction, the new campaign. I'm not going to be building in the sandbox mode unless absolutely necessary, and even then I will consider not doing that. And that's purely because I really feel that the difficulty of actually making your faction whilst basically live, while the enemy have chance to retaliate and push down on you, is again one of the big difficulty things in this game, which I don't really want to avoid. So let's just pop this in there. There we go. And thus we have a weapon controller once again attached to the mainframe. I did attach the other one, didn't I? Did I actually give it a... Yes, I did. Excellent. For a second there I thought, did I actually do that? So what I think about here is, I think perhaps just making it look like a small room, similar to how I've almost done this here with 2 wooden panels there. Perhaps even with glass, with the cannon simply sticking out forward. Again, this one won't be a turret. It's going to simply be a cannon. Now, it's going to be quite low actually if we do it here. Do I want it to be... We could make it a small turret, we could, but I don't feel this is going to be the right place. I feel we're going to build up on here later. So making this a room with a gun inside is probably the better idea. So let's just quickly remove what I've just placed. This didn't happen, no one saw that. That was absolute insanity if you think you did. And let's just quickly pop this beam here, which is actually going to be too big. Let's pop this beam here and here. Then quickly check the map again, make sure no one coming just yet. Excellent. Now you can you put the cannon on top of the weapon controller? That's something I actually don't know. You can, excellent. Which of course means, believe it or not, that's able to control that as well. It's right next to it. Receiver goes in, click, and the failsafe does the same. And then we add a bit of a weapon on top. So weapons, custom cannons. We want the motor-driven barrels because this thing is not going to be able to actually move itself. So how about we actually attach it to the right thing? I was thinking it was a little bit too thick still, considering it has absolutely no gauge. That accuracy would be ridiculously bad at the moment. So 2 more of those. It don't need a recoil suppression, but we would like one elevation will completely cut its ability to shoot from side to side. So actually change my mind about that. We're not going to be an AA gun, that can come later. Okay, that'll be good enough for now. Again, we do have to conserve resources. That's one of the big problems there, and well, that's getting quite expensive. So, so what we need next is ammo boxes, everything else, but mostly we need to start adding some 6-way connectors. And bring that down. Doesn't need to be too big, honestly, so something like this is probably enough to hold everything we're actually going to add to this cannon. Doesn't need to be too fast shooting, but a bit of extra speed would not go amiss. Also, I've accidentally put these in the perfect place to do this, which is always good. So we can put the ammo boxes in the middle there. Its fire rate is now... Where's your fire rate? Okay, it's not too bad. Reload time 1.27. So if we carry on with that just a little bit more. Oh, we are just about to run out of metal already, though. Ammo box there. So right now we've got a very quick shooting but weak cannon. So this is going to go in a nice room, like I say, which will eventually become something else. I kind of want to keep the wooden aesthetic. I think we'll have to use like hidden metal as we go. But I do kind of want to keep the aesthetic as basically wood. That's what I want to see. Probably 1 higher would be nice. Okay, and then we'll have the slopes coming off like earlier. Facing for... Oh, we've actually run out of natural resources, my lord. Well, that's something I didn't expect. Yep, as you can tell, early game, you don't really get much to play around with, so you've got to be careful what you use. Okay, the inaccuracy is pretty much unbearable with that still, so we need it to at least be accurate. That's one of the things. It either has to be ridiculously fast shooting or accurate or both. To be functional, which of course is what we want. There's a shover barrel there, a couple of them. Better. If we add a bit of gauge as well, of course that will help big time. So this will be a not exactly a main cannon, but something of a main cannon. I may make it less accurate later to increase the speed of it, just to do a pepper shock. That's fun. But okay, so that's the next step done. Let's skip ahead and see if something else happens. Okay, it's been a few more minutes and a bit more of an attachment to our glorious fortress. The fortress now is armed with torpedoes for the first time in quite a while. I very rarely use torpedoes because of the amount of flying enemies, but they've all been set up so they don't fire unless they're extremely sure they'll hit with accuracy. I'm even tempted to make an additional AI to be really almost purely for missiles and torpedoes to ensure this, but they all work functionally and they are freaking huge. So I've basically made a little dry dock for them. They get flung out, as you can see, and they'll happily go towards the enemy. Where they've gone, there they are, happily towards wherever I fired. Sadly, of course, because they're all on different systems, because I decided this looks really cool to me, the whole idea of each one being its own kind of cannon, perhaps being able to be manned by a personnel of our fortress, which still needs a name. It's just kind of cool. I like the concept, although I am tempted to make them a little bit smaller, although currently they are armed with 3 fragmentation warheads, all at different angles, the first one being far more accurate, going less and less accurate as it goes back, basically ensuring destruction of whatever it hits, and the area surrounding it. So once I've saved up a bit more, we're going to start working on defending our AI, and well, pretty soon the enemy should be coming to kill us, as I did test this out earlier just to ensure it worked, and the enemy came to us in about 20 odd minutes, 20-25 minutes at the same difficulty, so I believe that's going to come remarkably soon. So let's get back to work and ensuring that our AI doesn't randomly explode. The next thing really which I'm tempted to do is either shielding or something else. I still need to do more with the turret over here, but this turret now is armed with explosive rounds. Explosive and armor piercing, I should say. Almost all of them. Almost all of them are armed. Actually, no, is it 1 in 2? It is indeed 1 in 2. One shot goes without, but the next shot goes with a very hefty load of explosives, which can apparently go through walls. I am curious now that the weapons go through mountains. When did they do that? Anyway, back in a second. Still a lot to do with this little guy. This little fortress. Oh, it's a little baby. Several more minutes have passed, and now we are, well, decorating. I'm happily decorating the fortress. I'm building walkways along the top to get from one place to the other. Now the main turret room is accessible from the AI room, and the AI room is about to have a path downwards to get to the main body of the ship, which currently simply contains the engine room, which really needs to be upgraded, and the torpedo room, which I am going to put signs on as well. Overall, I'm actually pretty happy with how it looks. I love this design. It's a really simple, just stupid spike design, but I really like it. It looks like it's being reinforced, and yet it's still nowhere near done. I've accidentally put the ship a little bit down again by accident, but yeah, everything's looking up and up. So the main weapon, I've also upgraded the turret again a tiny little bit. It now shoots slightly faster. The missiles are as they were, but are soon to be upgraded to a full swarm missile status because, well, I decided this zone here, I'm going to repaint the area around here. In fact, let's do it here in the old fleet colours, which I'll put a new one, let's say here, which was simply a dark red, which was about this-ish. And this will indicate that, of course, this area here is dangerous and you shouldn't really stand around it because, well, it's kind of made of missiles and will explode in your face if you're stupid enough to be around it, which tends to be pretty darn bad for your facial features, honestly. So let's just quickly pop the colours on there. And let's do... Also, the green's growing on me. Originally, when I first started using it, I was thinking, I'm not too sure about this, but now I'm actually I do quite like it. Here's a problem. How do I do this? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is make this section one thicker like I did on the inside segment. Also replace that with a few blocks just so the red isn't everywhere. And that way, it'll only be this inner section here, this inner sanctum section, which is actually painted red to indicate there's something there, because that right now, that kind of looks like it's going off to the corner, so let's put that on in red as well. Yeah, and that way these won't become red, which I don't really want to happen, so let's just quickly pop in some metal beams, if I actually have the resources, which I think I do. There we are, one red beam there, then we'll just add some metal blocks to finish it off, because why not? And speaking of which, let's just quickly remove that. Put those two down there, and 0 colour on this one. Click, oh, no, not 0 colour, sorry, it's the... Where are you? There you are. Actually clicked the other 0 colour. There we go, so it blends back in, and back to doing the metal section, this time in glorious red. Where are you, red? There we are. Yeah, I do like the concept as well. I always have done. I think I mentioned it a few times when I was making the Ecoli. I like the concept of a base, I mean particularly a fortress, but also ships, being able to move around on them as if they are accessible by a crew. So having these gangways along the top here is good. And eventually I'll do something with this section over here. I'm not quite sure yet. Currently it's just it's basically the roof for the harpoon section, and for some reason I did this with blocks. I'll replace that in a second. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'll do with this section just yet. I'm thinking possibly a defense system of some kind, perhaps just smoke dispensers, having them over here and having them all separate around here, which would be quite nice. Then perhaps having a laser defense system against missiles somewhere over here. Currently the radar has been removed because I'm not quite sure where I want to put it. I could perhaps put a radar tower here, but it would get in the way of the gun. So probably what I'm going to do is put the radar tower on top of the resource gathering over here, and that way I can connect the gangway to here as well, which would be kind of cool. So I'll just continue with this, finish off the missiles, and be back in a second. Well, the missiles are finished and now actually even and nicely symmetrical, other than the, well, this bugger, the delay timer, but we are pretty much done with the basic design of this, and like I say, I am pretty darn happy so far with that our little defensive lodge. But we are now unable to see what the hell's going on at the moment, so what I'm going to do before an enemy sneaks up on me is quickly make a new object, vehicle, which will just go here for a second, and it's literally going to be, just for now, a scout balloon, and little more, honestly. So all it's going to contain is a couple more blocks. Let's just mirror it to make it easier on ourselves. We'll make a nice little thing like that. There we go. In the middle, the most important part. Well, not really, but still an important part nonetheless. An automated control block, which will be... let's see, which one's easiest for me? I guess really just be the lowest, or every few seconds. Let's do altitude, balloon deployers, activate your balloons if I am lower than this. There we go. So if I'm lower than pretty much the highest in the game, then make sure to go into the air. Next we'll add a couple of, where are you my beautiful things? Oh, you're right here in front of me, I know you are, and I'm simply blind. There we go. Into the air we go. Which will go absolutely insane, because it always does, and this will just be a temporary thing that I just patched together, and will be removed for a more permanent one in the future. Come on, let me add that, there we go. Finally, all we need to do now is actually just add a really quick antenna to the bottom, so I'll quickly go ahead and do that. We've all seen it a few times before in the past, let's face it. Well, it seems once you actually add weight to the bottom, this thing actually stabilizes. Hurrah! So we have this very cute little miniature dish which is just going up in the air with the remainder of my resources, just so I can see what on earth is going on around me. Ooh, that's quite a weak looking deep water guard over there. I am tempted to aggravate them a little bit. I think right now they're not quite angry enough with me to, well, we are on pure hatred, but they're not quite angry enough with me. So what I'm going to be please stop going down and stay up. There we are. I'm going to send over my little boat here to get their attention for the first time and drag them back to the fortress. So, with that in mind, I'll just back off my my little satellite there, my little balloon satellite, and we'll be right back with the first fight, and the last fight of today, because I have basically run out of time, sadly. Well, here we go. To end the episode, let's have a nice tester fight, since they're being quite kind to us at the moment, and actually giving us some time to, well, prepare, which is nice for us. Well, they're quite far away right now, so I started the fight a little bit early, but here we go. Let's see just how well we do. Hopefully well. Not quite sure how I was then falling down, but the missiles are away happily, so are our shots, and this is a very weak enemy. Bear in mind that most attacks coming towards us will be much higher strength. Our short-range missiles, which I haven't set up properly, are definitely missing, and so is our main gun. The lack of accuracy is a problem, like I was stating before. I will be increasing the barrel, but for a basic defense, that's amazing. Oh, well, the torpedoes have been let loose anyway, so that's good. The ones that actually have been set up are doing well, are about to do their job pretty darn well, I'd think. If one of these does manage to land, I can't see... I don't even actually know what ship this is, actually. That's a new ship to me. Where are they now? Torpedoes, which ones are missiles which have ran out of power? Oh, that's a torpedo, because it's actually moving properly. Boom! And, well, a whole segment of wood just vanishes. Fantastic. I did actually start this fight a little bit far away, but yeah, the lack of accuracy is terrible, and the missiles, like stated before, are ridiculously short range. Though I did think they were a bit further range than that. Well, things we've learned, of course, thankfully from this. But yeah, like I was saying, most of the enemies, when they send an attack force, are generally strength 15 or higher. This was a strength of 5 or 4, I believe. So as you can imagine, the next few fights will be a bit more challenging. But our little fortress manages to stave off one of the weakest sized group possible. So that's good. The lack of accuracy is astounding. Perhaps an increase in some stat or other. I could just increase gauge, because I don't really like increasing the barrel too much, as I find it looks quite ugly, honestly. So there's a quick look-see, and sorry, I don't really like increasing the size of the barrel, as it looks quite ugly. So let's do the gauge instead, is what I was trying to say there. And I think I may have said it, but I'm not sure anymore. I don't even know. So inaccuracy currently is at 1.35, which actually isn't too bad. It's just the slow shot rate, really. Now it's 1.25, and it was 1. Okay, so it decreases by 10. So let's do that twice, and then not again. So it has a nicely strengthened barrel, and then let's increase the barrel by 1, because blargle. I could have used the regular barrel to actually save a bit of cash, and that would look cool on the end, having the thinner piece sticking out there. So now it's down to 0.6, so it's basically halved, well actually better than half the inaccuracy rate. So that's not too bad. A very slow shooting, medium damage, well not medium, lower medium damage barrel. We've got our missiles, which really need some work. Honestly, the main thing is just to shoot. When they're at a certain distance, which I haven't set up yet, and that's it. So it is a short range defense. It's a last ditch defense, because how ammo consuming it actually is. Even with the smaller missiles, I'm stuck currently. I'm stuck on the underbelly of my ship. My fortress. There we go. If you look at our ammo now, it's just going down so quickly, trying to replenish. It's almost at half already after the first volley. So that really needs to be taken into consideration. It can't just keep on spamming like that. The torpedoes did their work fantastically. So well done to the torpedoes, actually doing their AI correctly. And let's reposition ourselves as we were, facing upwards, so that my craft actually faces to the right. There we go. So thank you all for watching. This is the start of the campaign. I might be working on a small ship soon to tour the seas, and we'll be replacing the little flying satellite I built in a hurry very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Please do take care, and until next time, a goodbye. And of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.